Apostle Paul is a great preacher, a man that says we are seated together in heavenly places. He's a man that expounds the word of God, knows homiletics and hermeneutics. He's a man that is sound in truth and in doctrine. Apostle Paul was taught by the Jesus in heaven. His encounter came directly from God. In the book of Acts chapter 9, he said he was traveling to destroy the believers. He says on the way to Damascus, an angel, the light of God, the man Jesus, appeared and light shone. So Apostle Paul's experience is a dangerous experience. I'm talking about a man that saw God physically, a man that encountered Jesus in the spiritual dimension. Yet Satan had the ability to hinder Apostle Paul. I'm speaking about a man who wrote more than half of the New Testament. At least 14 books were written by one man called Apostle Paul. He's a man of revelation, a man of substance, impact. He's a man of much less dimension. He was the last of the apostles according to the old era, yet he was the deepest among them all in terms of revelation and expounding of the word. Apostle Paul was a man who entered an island. He said a serpent bit him and the people were waiting for him to die. He said but the serpent died, but Paul did not die. He was a man a city stoned and watched him to die. He woke up and shook the dust and went and preached the gospel somewhere else. So a city could not kill a man, a serpent could not kill a man. He's a man that was known for prison experiences. Even the prison could not hinder him, yet he said the devil had capacity to hinder me. Let me say this to you, child of God. There are many of you whose lives are subject to obstacles. What stands between you and your miracle is called an obstacle. The oracle has spoken, the miracle is ready, but an obstacle is a satanic mystery that slows the pace of man. It hinders productivity, it hinders results, it hinders exploit. Let me say this to you, child of God. A man that has 500,000 francs and has no problem is richer than a man that has 2 billion but 7 billion problems. So money in your hand is not prosperity, it is the ability to remove barriers that makes you a prosperous man. The blessings of the Lord make it rich and added no sorrow. So the addition of obstacle is a sign that Satan has visited your privacy. I came to teach today about the mystery of destiny obstacles. You may sit down and you may follow me today. Many of you seated here are under obstacles. Satan understands that some men cannot be stopped, but they can be slowed down. In Ecclesiastes chapter 3 verse 1, it says to everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven. So time is God's system to regulate the systems of this world. Everything that God will do, he will do it within time. Someone say within time. Say within time. So your blessing is attached to a time factor. So if you come late, you may miss your blessing. If you come early, you will miss your blessing. To everything there's a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven. So your marriage is tied to a time, your traveling is tied to a time, your ministry expansion is tied to a time, your prosperity is tied to a time. So if the devil can slow you down, you will arrive the place of your time at the wrong time, and once it's no more your time, there are things you will not experience. Are you understanding at all? So obstacles are a satanic technology to make men miss their timing. To make men miss their timing. My God, I feel the word. I feel because there is somebody here who has been under obstacles. obstacles. Everywhere you look around you, something seems to be holding you bound. Something seems to be stopping you. You know what they told you in church, you are supposed to become this, yet the prophecy is not fulfilling. When Daniel prayed, the prince of Persia was the obstacle. Daniel did not know that the extra 20 days of prayer was a waste of time, because the answer was given on the first day. So the problem is not for God to release your miracle, it's for you to receive it, because nobody can block God. There's somebody can block you. They cannot stop God from releasing your marriage, your money, your miracle, but they can stop you from receiving what God has released. There is something called obstacles. Anytime you see a man whose life is in circles, last year he was broke, this year he's broke, there is something working against that man. It's called a destiny obstacle. The enemy has planted something against you. You had to take 4 years in the university, now you are taking 8 years. An obstacle was stopping you. It makes you arrive at the place God promised you, but not the time you had to arrive. So by the time you show up there, the blessing that had to be yours has been taken from you, because time and chance happen to them all, and to everything there is a time. There is somebody hearing me now. The obstacle in your life is about to be removed. Somebody say yes, Lord. Sit down for a while. Say obstacles. So you must understand that something can resist you. There was a ministry trip Apostle Paul had to make, but the ministry trip he kept on pushing. Procrastination is a spirit. I will pray, I will fast is a spirit. No, don't say I will pray. Don't say I will fast. Never program spiritual activities, do them. Because when God is leading you to pray, you must start praying at that time. Because when the Spirit says pray, start the prayer. While planning the prayer, be praying while you are planning the prayer. Are you understanding me at all? When I look at your life, I see people who have so many destiny barriers against their lives, obstacles on every side. By now you thought you'd be in your husband's house, yet you are still in the house alone. By now you thought you will not be with your parents anymore, you are still in your mother's house. By now you thought at this age of your life you'll be an independent brother, independent sister, yet they must send money to you to save you. By now you thought you will be abroad enjoying life. By now you thought the church shall be better. By now you thought, based on your plans of 2020, you made many good plans. I'm going to do this and this and that. You did not plan for the day of affliction. You didn't plan for obstacles. There is a war in the spirit, and Apostle Paul says, though we walk in the flesh, though we plan in the flesh, we don't war in the flesh. While writing your plans, don't forget that Satan has written his plans, and on the way to every of your plan, he plans an obstacle there to hinder productivity. You knew that by now you cannot be where you are today, but somehow you find yourself there because obstacles are wicked. They don't look at your age, they don't care about your tongues. Obstacles are wicked. My prayer for you is that the obstacle between you and your miracle, let the obstacle be lifted by fire. Somebody say obstacle be broken. Say obstacle be broken. Look at your neighbor and say the obstacle is broken. The mystery of destiny obstacle. Sit down. What is an once and again I was coming to get married to you, but Satan hindered me. Once and again God told me I will open a shop this year, but once and again, say once and again, it is repeated. The spirit of repeated failure is by the mystery of destiny obstacles. It doesn't happen once, it happens one again and again. And now something has made you say it is the will of God. Nothing makes Satan so happy like when you call affliction God's will, like when you call delay God's timing. He becomes so comfortable when you lie to yourself that where you are is a product of the will of God. What is an obstacle? Number one, an obstacle is the visible or invisible hindrance that separates, someone say separates, you from reaching or holding your expectation. The worst kind of obstacles are the ones you cannot see, yet you are suffering from their presence in your life. There are people you are asking yourself, what have I not done? Why are things still like this? Obstacle, visible and invisible. Oh my God. Through faith we understand that the worlds were framed by the word of God, so that the things which are seen were not made from things which do appear. So the delay you are seeing has a root. There is an invisible obstacle causing people not to release wealth to you. There is an invisible obstacle causing people not to bless you financially. You are good for dating, not good for marriage. You are good for interview, not good for the job. You are good to be used, but not good to be paid. An obstacle is there. It's an invisible or visible hindrance that limits a man from holding or reaching his expectation. Let me say this to you, people of God. Your speed in life is at the mercy of how many obstacles have been removed from your path. There are people by now, you would have arrived your days of millions, but there are obstacles against you. When you get to 500,000, something breaks you down. You get to 1 million, something breaks you down. You get to 3 million, something brings you down. You cannot break a certain financial limit. Why? An obstacle is planted that begins to give you responsibilities. Your mother gets sick, your brother needs money, that one needs to travel abroad, your car gets bad, something continually happens that begins to waste your finances. The demon of waste is the spirit that brings unforeseen circumstances. You always have an emergency to solve. As money enters your hand, an emergency must show up. There are people, before your salary comes, you have already spent everything, because problems you face are more than the money you receive, because an obstacle is against your life. Some are visible, some are invisible. You must understand there are gatekeepers at the door of every testimony. When you stand there, these men will question you. No one can enter a strong man's house and spoil his goods until he binds the strong man. So that thing you want to receive, there's a strong man there. It is time to stop crying. It's time to fight. You have cried a long time. You have known what it means to cry. Have you known what it means to fire prayer? You have known what it means to be depressed. Have you known what it means to wage war? And Apostle Paul says, a great and effectual door has been opened for me, and there are many adversities, many enemies. You must understand, when God opens the door, the devil removes your staircase to limit your movement. When God opens the door, Satan puts a barrier hinder career. I prophesy, every barrier against your life, every obstacle, the Lord of heaven shall remove for you. Let that thing be removed by fire. Sit down for a while.